annual statement on revenue and expenditure is popularly known as the union budget. And union budget is presented by the president. Do you understand that? When we say it is presented by the government, it is actually presented by the president. Do you understand that? But it is declared by his ministers, like the finance minister. Can any other minister also present the budget in the absence of finance minister? Yes, that can be done. Do you understand that? There is nothing written in the constitution that only the finance minister shall present the budget. But convention says what? That it will be the finance minister who will present the budget. And the budget is generally presented where? It is presented in the Lok Sabha first. Do you understand that? But then it is customary now that to present the budget also in the upper house, which is the Rajya Sabha. But here today we will not go into the details of the constitutional aspects related to budget, because that we have already covered in our polity classes. Today what we will see is the economic angle related to budgeting. Do you understand that? So look here, when we talk about the budget, it is actually a kind of statement. So budget is a statement. It's what kind of statement? It's an annual statement on what? On two things. First is revenue and the second one is expenditure. It means from where the money will come and where the money will go. How it is designed in the fiscal policy will be implemented through an instrument, and that instrument is the budget. So budget could be balanced budget, budget could be surplus budget, budgets could also be deficit budgets. When it will be balanced budget, when the revenue and the expenditure match, that would be a balanced budget. When revenue would be more than expenditure, that would be a surplus budget. When revenue would be less than expenditure, that would be a deficit budget. So most welfare governments have what kind of budget? Balanced, surplus or deficit budgets? Deficit budgets. It means what? That the governments take less and spend more. Do you understand that? And whatever the government takes does not come to the government in one go. But whatever the government spends mostly goes in one go. Do you understand that? That's why revenue comes with a lag, whereas expenditure travels faster. That's why most of the times the budget turns out to be a deficit budget. And the extra borrowing that is to be done to meet this deficit is known as deficit financing. Do you understand that? Or sometimes also known as budget financing. But anyhow, more of that later on in the class. So what is budget? Budget is nothing but an annual statement, financial statement on revenue and expenditure. Do you understand that? Now, when we look at the revenue and when we look at the expenditure, we see that all the revenues and all the expenditures are not of the same kind. There are two types of revenues and there are two types of expenditure, or rather there are two types of revenue receipts and there are two types of expenditures incurred. So when we talk about the revenue receipts, there are two kinds. First is the revenue budget and the second one is the capital budget. And within that we have the revenue receipts and the revenue expenditure. We have the capital receipts and we have the capital expenditure. When we match the revenue budget with the capital budget, we get the total budget. Budget is always an estimate. So budget, any year's budget actually carries three figures. Do you understand that? And what are that? The estimated figure of the upcoming financial year, the revised figures of the ongoing financial year, and the actual figures of the previous finance year. Revenue, receipts and revenue expenditure are day-to-day receipts and day-to-day expenditure. Capital receipts and capital expenditure are capital receipts and capital expenditure are long-term receipts and long-term expenditure. ये तो एक हुआ point of view from the time zone. Do you understand that? Or the time period. Another from the point of view of asset and liability. So revenue receipts are those receipts which neither create any liability nor reduce an asset, whereas capital receipts are those which create liability or they reduce asset, whereas capital expenditure is one which creates assets and reduces liability. Do you get that? And obviously revenue expenditure does nothing of that sort. Do you get it?